Well, let's get started. I'm just going to repeat what I said earlier for anyone who has just joined. Thank you for joining and to learn about BIMrx Core. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to type them in the questions dialog and we will get to them at the end of the presentation. So thank you, everyone. And my name is Sheer Ehrlich. Just to give you a brief description about me before getting started, I am a strategic implementation manager here at Microdesk, where I specialize in both BIM implementation and Dynamo automation. So while I've been working as a strategic implementation manager, I noticed many, inefficiencies in my workflows using just out-of-the-box Revit, as I'm sure many of you have as well. Revit is amazing, but it's definitely not perfect. So for the past year, I have been working with our product development team on BIMrx Core to speed up and improve those workflows. And now I'm the BIMrx Core product owner. So before getting started on the demo, I wanted to talk a little bit about BIMrx. What is it, right? So we built BIMrx to really enhance and simplify Revit in BIM 360. And each of these 4 modules that you see here is purpose built to allow you to get projects out the door faster and spend less time on what we like to refer to as low-level tasks and more time getting you guys back to design, right? So BIMrx Core, MEP, and Fabrication are all built to be a part of Revit, while BIMrx Cloud Manager is a standalone application. And BIMrx is built to streamline the entire BIM project lifecycle, from things like views and model production to collaborating with stakeholders and project administration. Now, today we are here to talk about BIMrx Core, which is the foundation of all the BIMrx products and is focused on project setup, model management, and documentation. Now, it has powerful commands and features that integrate with Excel so that your project teams can create custom workflows that work for the entire team, not just Revit users. And BIMrx Core really automates those manual repetitive tasks. So again, your team can spend their time on the things that matter most. So like I just mentioned before, BIMrx Core is really focused on those 3 parts of the project lifecycle: project setup, model management, and documentation. And today I will show you just how the BIMrx Core commands and features can be integrated into your workflows to speed up these time-consuming tasks. From things like setting up your views in your project to managing Excel data, to tagging your drawings and even creating print sets. BIMrx Core is built to work throughout your entire project lifecycle. I will now switch over to the live demo to show you how some of these features work. Just give me a moment to open up that model. So here you can see that we've just finished setting up all the levels and grids in our project. And once we have the levels and grids set up, we can start setting up all the views for those levels. Now, before BIMrx, this would take us quite a long time of, creating all these views. But with the BIMrx Sheet View Manager, we are able to streamline the entire project setup process. Now we can create the views directly within the BIMrx interface by adding rows of data, as you see here. But the real game changer is the ability to use Excel to streamline this entire process for us. Here we have our view set configuration settings that have been set up through an Excel configuration file. And you can see how we can set up all of the view types needed, and then we can select all the levels that we need for those plans, and then simply create them by clicking the Apply button. And you'll see that the data grid will update with the information. Now, this will allow us to set up all our views, from the floor plans to the RCPs, furniture plans, even our working plans. And this is all done so easily. And lastly, I'll just hit create, and you'll see how in just a few seconds, a little over 50 plans have been created, and all that project setup is done for me. Now that we've set up our project, we can start to model all of the elements within our building. And let's fast forward through time to a point where our building is modeled. And I wish BIMrx had a button to do that, but unfortunately we still have to actually model the building. But once we have our modeling portion done, we can begin that tedious task of updating the data of our model elements. And managing data is such a repetitive process within Revit. You must select each element and input all of that parametric information. And, Revit makes this process a little bit easier by allowing us to create schedules. And here we have a room schedule where we need to update all the finishes, for example. And I just showed you how we can create our views within our project utilizing Excel, but let's take a look at how we can manage our parametric data. The BIMrx extract and update features allow for round-trip data between Revit and Excel. All we have to do is come to the extract feature, select to extract the pre-created Revit schedule, and hit export. It'll then prompt me to save that Excel file, and then will just prompt me to open it. And once that Excel file is open, we can start inputting that information. And, in reality, I would probably take some time to really make these changes more, appropriate. But for the ease of this demo, let's just input some data so we can see how this works. And not only is this really easy for us to update the information as Revit users, but now we can coordinate with non-Revit users. And I'm certain that many of you have team members who aren't working in Revit. Well, now we can export the Excel file, hand it over to our consultants or other project team members that aren't in Revit. They can fill out that Excel file and bring it back to us. All we have to do is come back to BIMrx and hit the update feature. And just like that, all of that data has been updated in the Revit model. It's so fast and easy. And not only are there commands and features that work to update parametric information through Excel, but BIMrx has features and commands that work to update parameters directly within our Revit model. For example, we have our renumbering feature that allows us to renumber just about anything within the Revit model. And this is honestly one of my favorite BIMrx features. As you can see in this tooltip video, the renumbering feature allows us to renumber our grids. And we can even pick on screen the order in which they are renumbered by. Just like that, our grids have been renumbered super fast and super easy. But I also want to show you how we can use our renumbering feature to renumber elements based off of their room numbers. And for that, we will renumber our doors. As you can see, our door numbers do not match our room numbers. How many times have you had to go back and renumber doors when the design has changed and you've added new rooms or changed your design? Well, now this process will take no time at all. I mean, first we have to select all the doors, and that's where our BIMrx filter select comes in. Here we are able to easily select elements based off of our Revit rule-based filters. This takes selecting elements to a whole new level. We can even access the Revit out-of-the-box filters dialog if we need to create new filters from BIMrx. Then we can set up our rules and select and hide, or select and isolate these elements. And once we have our door selected, we can come over and use the BIMrx renumbering feature. We can set up a rule to renumber them by, or in this case, we want to match the room number and group by room. So even if there's multiple doors to a room, each door will have a unique value. We can then simply hit apply, and you can see here that all of my doors have been updated to match my room numbers. And now that we've finished managing all of that data within the Revit model, let's take a look at how we can use BIMrx to create our documentation set. I mean, we just went through project setup, right? And then we went through that model management, and now we need that final step, that documentation. And before we can actually start documenting our drawings, we need to create all of our sheets and place all of our drawings on their respective sheets. That's where the BIMrx Sheet View Manager comes back into play. You'll see here in my 3D view, I have the 2 towers associated to my buildings. So we might also want to create some dependent views of the different towers from our overall plans that were created earlier. I'm sure that duplicating as dependent your different sector plans is such a tedious task. We have to select each view, right-click to duplicate as dependent, repeat, repeat, repeat. Then we have to go back and rename all those views and then add all the scope boxes. Well, with the Sheet View Manager, we're able to streamline this entire process. All we have to do is load in that Excel file to create those dependent views, and you can see that I can add my view names, my scope boxes, and that duplication option all within Excel. Next, we just have to hit create, and that Excel file creates all of those dependent views, and see how easily I transformed my overall plans into their respective dependent views. Now let's move over to creating sheets. That same Excel file has those sheets loaded in, so all I have to do is switch over, hit create, and all of my sheets will be created. Let's take a look at them in the project browser. There they are. So lastly, we have to place all those views on those respective sheets. And in that same Excel file, I've already laid it out for me. So with BIMrx, I just have to come over to my Manage tab and place those views. And before BIMrx, we would have to open every single sheet, find the view, drag and drop it onto the sheet, and they aren't even aligned. Well, with BIMrx, we can select the sheets, the corresponding views, and even a placement location. We don't even have to open any sheets or views to do this. With the BIMrx Sheet View Manager, that is all done through that Excel-based workflow. And you can see as we speak, those views are being added to those sheets. And just like that, all my sheets are set up. And now that we have all of our sheets set up and our views created, we can start the documentation process. We've done the hard work of updating all the data within those Revit elements, right? But now we have to go and add those tags to show all of that information, because at the end of the day, we need to deliver a set of drawings. And Revit out of the box tagging method, I mean, it works okay to tag elements, but it's always placing tags in the center. And we end up spending so much time just adjusting tag locations and aligning them to get them to look good on our drawings. And then if we need to have multiple tags, that process just doubled in time, right? Well, our BIMrx tagging features solves those problems. Here we have 3 different tagging features: our tag settings, our tag select, and our tag select linked elements. We want to start with the tag settings because this is where we're going to set up all of our tag configurations. These tag configurations allow us to set up multiple tag symbols per category. Then we can set up or specify a location relative to our elements and specify an offset relative to that location. We can set up our defaults for each category as well. And we can even start tagging elements directly within our settings dialog, just to make sure that those tags are in the proper locations. And once we have our default configuration set up, we can use the tag select, which allows me to tag just like the out-of-the-box tag by category, but with our BIMrx tag settings. Here we can just easily select all the elements that we want tagged, and because we've had a default for doors and a default for rooms, it will place those tags beautifully, exactly the way we want them. We don't have to worry about coming back and aligning and moving tags because our drawings look nice and neat the first time around. And once we finish tagging our elements, maybe we want to start incorporating non-Revit information into our documentation set. Now, I showed you how we can utilize Excel to create views and sheets and update parametric data. But what if you have an Excel file that you want incorporated into your documentation set? Perhaps you're getting files from consultants who aren't in Revit, or even your own project team members, and maybe an Excel file or PDF or Word file, and now you need to incorporate it. Here we have an Excel file that is a material schedule. And maybe we're using that because it's just easier to manage that information in Excel. Whatever the situation, we now need it incorporated into our documentation set. And currently Revit doesn't have that capability. But our BIMrx imprint feature, we can easily just select an Excel, Word, or PDF file, select which sheet to use, and bring it into our sheets. And not only is this file imprinted, but this is a link. So if we change that file at any point in time, it will be updated in Revit as well. Now you can see how our imprint was successful and we can move it to its desired location. Now that we've finished adding everything to our documentation set, all our sheets are ready to go, we probably need to start finalizing those revisions, right? And adding those revisions to all of our sheets. Well, that's where our BIMrx Revision Manager comes in. Now, the BIMrx Revision Manager allows us to add multiple revisions to multiple sheets, remove multiple revisions, and then create print sets of those revised sheets. I can easily select all my sheets and specify one or many revisions to be added to them. Now, once we've added our revisions, we can use the intuitive filtering to filter by that revision. Then we can easily select all of our sheets and create a print set of those revised sheets. Now, this print set will then show up in, my regular out-of-the-box Revit Print Manager. Now, all we have to do is select Control-P to print it, and we can export all of those sheets to a PDF file. But wait, there's even more. One of the most amazing additions to BIMrx is the integration of BIMrx Core and BIMrx Cloud Manager, which allows for the export of PDFs and NWC files from the Revit model on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Now, remember how I literally just showed you how to create those print sets with the BIMrx Core's Revision Manager? Now with BIMrx Cloud Manager Pro, we can take that print set and automate the export of PDFs either on demand or on a schedule. So this integration really opens the possibilities for even more ways to automate your workflows like never before. I mean, you can set them up to export overnight or whatever time. You don't have to be at work to do this. And later this week, on Thursday at 11:30 Eastern Time, Brendan Gregory, our BIMrx Cloud Manager product owner, will be giving a webinar on BIMrx Cloud Manager. So make sure to check out his presentation to see just how this integration works. Now, enough about Cloud Manager. Let's jump back to BIMrx Core and see how it solves the inefficiencies within out-of-the-box Revit. With BIMrx Core, managing and creating sheets and views is made easy with our Excel-based workflows. And not only can we leverage Excel to create sheets and views, but we can use Excel to quickly manage our model data and integrate Excel files into our documentation set with the extract, update, and imprint features. BIMrx Core's tagging features make documenting our views so fast and easy. And lastly, with the Revision Manager, we can quickly add or remove revisions and create print sets of those revised sheets. Just take a look at these time savings. Really, the more elements you need to be modified, the more time is saved using BIMrx Core. Now, the real question is, how much time are you wasting by not having BIMrx Core? And, I didn't get to show you guys all of the incredible commands and features within BIMrx Core, but BIMrx Core includes even more of these commands and features to really automate project setup, model management, and documentation, allowing for tons of ways to speed up your workflows. And I'm certain that you would benefit from not just one, but many of the features listed here. And I hope you got a small taste of what BIMrx Core could do for your project teams. And I really appreciate everyone taking, the time out of your day to learn about BIMrx Core. So for more information on BIMrx, please visit the BIMrx or Microdesk websites. Here you'll be able to view the products, schedule demos, and even get in touch with the right people to help you get started with BIMrx. And this presentation is part of, a BIMrx webinar series. So please check out the other webinars on BIMrx MEP, BIMrx Fabrication, and BIMrx Cloud Manager.